You slept 7 hours last night, the tracker confirmed it, and yet you woke up this morning feeling like the sleep didn't actually happen. Not groggy in the way a short night feels, something different, the kind of tired that doesn't lift after coffee, the kind that makes your thinking feel slightly underwater before the day has even started. If that's familiar, I want you to hold off on changing anything, your schedule, your supplements, your bedtime, until you hear this. Because the problem almost certainly isn't your sleep duration. It's a signal your sleep tracker is not designed to measure. Before minute 2, I'm going to give you a simple 3-part framework for reading your sleep data differently. Not a new device, not a protocol, just a lens shift that changes what you're actually looking for, and why the number on your screen has been answering the wrong question. Here's what nobody tells you when you start tracking sleep. The metric that most wearables report loudest, total hours, was never designed as a recovery signal. It was designed as a compliance signal. It tells you whether you stayed in bed long enough. It tells you nothing about whether your brain did what it needed to do while you were there. And what it needs to do is clean itself. Every night, while you're unconscious, your brain runs a biological clearance process. Cerebrospinal fluid pulses through microscopic channels between neurons, flushing out metabolic waste that accumulates during the day. Proteins, byproducts, cellular debris. This system operates almost exclusively during sleep. During waking hours, it's largely shut down. I had to read the first papers on this twice because the scale of it surprised me. We're not talking about a minor overnight process. We're talking about the primary mechanism your brain uses to protect itself from long-term damage. So here's the first thing I want you to reframe right now before we go any deeper. Hours in bed is a quantity signal. What your brain actually needs is quality clearance time. Those are not the same thing, and your tracker in most cases cannot distinguish between them. If you're using a wearable, any brand, go into your app right now or tonight and look for 3 numbers, not your total sleep time. These 3. First, wake consistency. The difference in minutes between when you actually woke up yesterday and the day before. Under 30 minutes means your circadian rhythm is anchored. Over 60 minutes means your clearance window is shifting every night, and the biology that prepares for it can't keep pace. Second, deep sleep continuity. Not just how much deep sleep you got, but whether it came in one sustained block early in the night or scattered fragments. Fragmented deep sleep is the functional equivalent of starting a drain cycle on your dishwasher and stopping it every 8 minutes. The pipes never actually clear. Third, morning cognitive clarity at a fixed time. This one isn't in the app. It's a 10-second self-assessment you do at the same time every morning, say 7 a.m., before coffee, before your phone. On a simple scale, how sharp is your thinking right now? Track that number for 2 weeks. It's a more direct signal of overnight clearance quality than any wearable metric currently on the market. That's the triad: wake consistency, deep sleep continuity, morning cognitive clarity. You can start using all 3 today. Now I want to explain the mechanism behind why this matters as much as it does, and I want to be honest. This is the part of the research I find genuinely unsettling. That nighttime clearance system, it's called the glymphatic system, relies on a specific protein embedded in the cells surrounding your brain's blood vessels. That protein creates the channels that cerebrospinal fluid flows through. And here's what the research from 2024 shows. The efficiency of that system declines significantly with age, particularly after 45. Let me show you exactly what's happening at the cellular level, because this is the part that changes how you understand everything else. During slow-wave sleep, the deep, dreamless phase, your brain cells actually shrink slightly. That shrinkage expands the space between them, creating room for the cerebrospinal fluid to flow more forcefully. Waste gets pushed out. But if your slow-wave sleep is fragmented, interrupted by arousals you may not even remember, those cells don't complete the shrinkage cycle. The channels narrow, the flush becomes a trickle. This is why you can sleep 8 hours and still wake up foggy. It's not the duration that drove the clearance, it was the architecture. And here's the practical consequence of that. If you're over 40 and your wearable shows low deep sleep percentage, or deep sleep arriving in fragments rather than one sustained block, your brain's clearance efficiency that night was almost certainly compromised. The hours are irrelevant to that outcome. There's a counter-argument I want to address directly, because I've seen it in the literature and I think it's worth being honest about. Some researchers argue that the glymphatic evidence in humans is still developing, that most of the foundational work was done in rodent models, and the human imaging studies, while promising, don't yet give us the full mechanistic picture. That's fair. I want to be careful here. What I will say is this. The correlation between poor, slow-wave sleep architecture and next-day cognitive impairment in adults over 40 is not contested. Whether the glymphatic mechanism is the complete explanation or one part of it, the outcome is reproducible and the direction is clear. Poor clearance sleep produces measurable cognitive cost the next morning. This is not speculation. Here is the research. A 2024 study published in Nature's Translational Psychiatry by Ma and colleagues used multimodal brain imaging and found that poor sleep quality disrupted glymphatic brain relationships in ways directly correlated with memory decline in middle-aged adults. A separate 2024 review by Kroesbergen and colleagues synthesized the evidence on glymphatic clearance across sleep and wakefulness and found that enhanced clearance is tightly coupled to slow-wave sleep and sharply suppressed during wakefulness, regardless of how quiet or restful that wakefulness feels. You can be lying still in the dark. You can feel like you're sleeping. But if the slow-wave architecture isn't there, the clearance isn't running. So what actually drives slow-wave sleep quality? And what is specifically getting in the way of it after 40? There are three primary levers, and I'll take them in order of evidence strength. The first is light exposure timing. The cells that generate slow-wave sleep are regulated in part by your adenosine cycle, the accumulation of sleep pressure during the day and its clearance at night. That cycle is anchored to your first light exposure in the morning. Bright light, ideally outdoor, within 30 minutes of waking, sets the timing of your adenosine peak and, as a downstream effect, the depth of your slow-wave rebound that night. The evidence here is strong and consistent across multiple human trials. This is where I'll surface something from my own data. For several years, I tracked my deep sleep percentage without paying attention to morning light exposure. My deep sleep percentage was low and stable, not terrible, but not where it should be for someone who understood the mechanism. When I added 10 minutes of outdoor light before 8 a.m. consistently, the deep sleep percentage rose. Not dramatically in the first week, but over a 6-week window, the change was visible. I want to be careful about reading too much into one personal data set, but it aligned with what the biology predicted, and it changed how I think about sleep optimization sequencing. The second lever is body temperature management in the 2 hours before sleep. Slow-wave sleep onset correlates with core body temperature dropping. Your body needs to shed heat, not maintain it. Evening exercise within 90 minutes of sleep, hot environments, or large meals close to bedtime all delay that temperature drop and push slow-wave sleep onset later into the night, which compresses the window in which the clearance cycle can complete. No supplements required for this lever. A cooler sleep environment and a 2-hour buffer before bed are sufficient and well supported. The third lever is glycine. This is where I'll be precise about evidence strength. Glycine is a non-essential amino acid with a reasonably consistent signal in the sleep literature. A dose of 3 grams taken 30 to 45 minutes before sleep has been shown in randomized controlled trials to improve subjective sleep quality and reduce next morning fatigue. The proposed mechanism involves glycine's role in lowering core body temperature and modulating activity in the sleep-promoting neurons of the brainstem. The data is not as strong as the light exposure evidence, and the effect size varies between individuals. If you have kidney conditions or any reason to be cautious with amino acid supplementation, this is a conversation to have with a clinician, not something to self-apply without thought. But for a healthy adult looking for a low-risk first intervention, the evidence is honest enough to mention. Here is what you should realistically expect when you start working with these 3 levers. And I want to be direct about the timeline because unrealistic expectations are where most people abandon protocols that would have worked. In the first 2 weeks, the most likely change you'll notice is morning cognitive clarity, the 10-second self-assessment. Not a dramatic difference, but a reduction in the morning fog that currently feels like your baseline. That's the early signal. If you're tracking it, you'll see it. Deep sleep percentage on your wearable may shift within 4 to 6 weeks of consistent light exposure. The important caveat is that wearables vary significantly in how they measure deep sleep. Consumer devices use accelerometry and heart rate variability as proxies, not EEG. So treat the number as directional, not absolute. What you're looking for is a trend, not a precise measurement. What may not change, even with excellent sleep architecture, is the underlying decline in glymphatic efficiency associated with aging itself. The research is honest that this is a progressive process. These interventions appear to slow the rate of decline and optimize function within your current biology, not reverse years of impaired clearance. The goal is to run the system you have at its highest capacity, not to expect it to run like the system you had at 32. And if your morning fog is severe, persistent, and combined with symptoms like difficulty sustaining attention, increased forgetfulness, or unusual fatigue at consistent times, that's a signal to bring to a physician, not just a protocol to optimize around. You came into this video believing that sleep hours were the primary recovery signal worth tracking. That belief is now a different question. The question isn't how long you slept. The question is whether your brain completed its clearance cycle while you did. You now have 3 things you didn't have before: a triad to assess sleep quality beyond duration, a mechanism that explains why the fog exists instead of blaming willpower or age, and a sequence protocol starting with the highest evidence lever. What I've shown you today is not the edge of what is known, it is closer to the center of it. Glymphatic research is young relative to other areas of sleep science, but the direction of the evidence is consistent and the stakes are not small. The harder question, the one the research is only beginning to answer clearly, is what happens to the debris that doesn't get cleared. Not over one fragmented night, over years of compressed slow-wave sleep. That question has a biology, and it's worth understanding.